Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take another look here at Solana, see what's going on. We had this nice little bear flag breakdown yesterday, and of course a strong recovery ever since Bitcoin broke 90,000. It's upwards of 93,400 is high. Pretty impressive stuff. If you're curious about how that's moving, I just upload a video, of course, for that. Check that out in your own time. But the general consensus here is that 90,000 is the new potential support level. If the price pulls back to that range, it'd be a good consideration for long, which kind of implies that we're likely to see a continuation higher for Solana. Now, to touch on this here really quick, just give you perspective, we took a good 28% from Bitcoin, 32% from ICP, and 20% from Solana. We basically just took a quick little short from 213 to 202. Okay, so again, played it safe on that one. I don't like shorting Solana very much, but Bitcoin did look like it was going to pull back with that double top at 90K, and it did. So that actually worked out pretty well, but I don't recommend shorting any coin right now. As I mentioned previously from yesterday, wait for a solid entry at the low $200 mark. Unfortunately, we secured profits when I was sleeping last night. I mean, that's good, don't get me wrong. But I wasn't able to get into a long in the low 200 to 205 range, which in hindsight would have been something I would like to have done, right? At this point, if you're in a long, consider holding it open. There's really no reason to close it. Things are looking pretty solid for Solana. And we're going to take a quick look at some other areas of interest as well, and just kind of consider the overall sentiment here for Solana. Before we get started though, thank you so much for always hitting that like button, commenting below if you get a chance. My Solana community is really super supportive and awesome, very non-toxic, so I appreciate all of you. And again, you're welcome for the years of service or whatever. I think some people are commenting saying thank you for that. It's been about 3.5 years I've been covering Solana, so it's been a good experience. Let's take a look here though at 220, right? We can see this here. Heavy concentration liquidation. I mean, heavy-ish. It's not monumental, but we got about maybe 2 billion between now and 221, 222. And then, of course, there's a heavier concentration at 226 at 228. The reason why this liquidation areas are important is just because those are generally areas of the price going to want to come back and revisit, right? Now that we've broken through our local high, we want to see if we can maybe retest that as a new low and continue higher. So hypothetically, 215 would be a solid consideration for long, just based on, big picture. From what I recall yesterday, we had that a little bit of a resistance there. I believe we're above that now. But take a look here. This is awesome as well. We can see short liquidation delta just shifted to break even and or bullish. So generally, when you see that shift of momentum occur, it lets you know you're above a key level resistance, which is 215. So I think a long at this point for Solana makes a tremendous amount of sense again, just from the bird's eye view. I'm trying not to be nearsighted. We're going to look at the charts too, but from what I can see on the back end, these seem like logical places of consideration. If we do take a look at open interest here as well, we can see that there's a pretty heavy concentration of people long at about 213, 210, and of course 202. That's right where our take profit target was, and or a good place to have hit that reverse button if you were in a short with our community to take a long at that point. Because again, roughly $200 is a good area of support. We've touched on that previously, but just kind of give you a little reiteration, reaffirmation. Back in March, we saw about like 5 or 6 days where the price could not pass that level. Now we can presume it's going to be a new support level, which it is. Okay, that's generally how that works. And I know it seems kind of weird, and crazy, hey, how the heck does something from 6 months ago matter now? Well, the people don't forget, right? And people that thought that was a bad value, now they're starting to think that, oh, it is a good value. I'm going to FOMO into this coin, right? Generally speaking, that's how it works right now. Market is filled with FOMO, but the key takeaway is if you FOMO into the right coins, it's okay, right? But the whole concept is to avoid that at all costs if you can, because it just generally doesn't favor well, except for these unique environments that we're in right now. When things are in price discovery, specifically Bitcoin, FOMOing in is actually sensible in a strange way, for lack of better terms, of course. So let's talk about the daily and just quickly summarize. Super bullish. There's no other way around it. We're above every single moving average. We got this ascending trend running concurrent with the 20-day SMA, basically letting us know that, hey, 185 is probably the new lowest point in which we'll see. That's even a best case scenario, though. Not my personal opinion. I think $200 was a really solid consideration for a long. Will we see that again? Possibly. I mean, we saw 202 no less than 12 hours ago, right? But the truth is, at this exact moment, with Bitcoin breaking above 90,000, hanging out in the 92K range, there's a solid chance that we're going to see Solana continue higher. Let's talk about that. First of all, we got somewhat of a bullish candle, of course. Today's looking pretty strong. We can also recognize that we're over 70 in the RSI, and we're maintaining that, right? So instead of breaking below, the price bounced, pivoted, looking good there. Money flow index is a little low. I don't love that. But the truth is that's not that big of a deal, because if you look at the amount of volume, it's super high. And the only reason why MFI is a little low is because it's factoring in some of these days here with some selling pressure. Okay, so generally speaking, we're seeing the most amount of volume the last 7 days. That outweighs the last 14 before that. Well, that's really good. Take a look at the money flow index, the MFI, and the RSI. We can see we're in really good shape here on the 4-hour time frame, back in equilibrium, so to speak. We can also see stochastic and MACD converging. We're above every single moving average, and this is something too, of course, where we can see the price broke below the 20-day SMA. Now it's back up above, and that's just something to remember, folks. When the price is above or below the 7 moving averages, it's just kind of an indication of what side of the tracks you're on. It's not like that's an impactful support or resistance level. Some people seem to think that moving averages is just kind of helping you understand, the overall mindset of how people view this coin in this case here, the last 24-hour candles. So in that case, we're above that level, letting us know we have good momentum, and the likelihood of further upside is greater. Is it perfect? Is it exact? No. If you were to take a long from now, I would highly recommend considering securing profits between now and 225, just based on the simple fact that we could double top here as well for Solana. But what we want to look at, and we'll look at that here in a minute, is just the correlation between the two coins. See how they're both performing, at least side by side. That's what I like to look at myself. So take a look here, first of all, at the SMAs and the hourly. We're looking good there too. The Ichimoku Cloud, while messy, is actually a nice little breakout here. We've spent about 2 to 3 hours above this local support / resistance at 215 on the cloud. We can see the lagging spans now free and clear, and the conversion lines over the baseline. We got a little bit of a fair value gap as high as 220, so there's a solid chance that we do see Solana continue a little bit higher at the very least to sweep the 220 to 222 range, possibly even break up as high as 226 to 230. Keep in mind that upper liquidation range is based on the local high. So if we were to break 225, I think 230 is seemingly pretty inevitable. But at this point, this is generally what I like to look for taking a long position with a coin like this that's strong, and to keep that in consideration. So let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame. This is my favorite time frame to identify comparisons or similarities, right? So if we kind of look at Bitcoin, we can see it's establishing higher highs, broke through, has potential to retest 90,000 and then leg up again. That's generally the overall idea. But if we look at Solana and how well it's performing, it's not pulling back quite as hard as Bitcoin. It broke through its local resistance at like 213. We have a strong amount of open interest below us, minus the fact that we have a point of control there at about 220. Generally speaking, we zoom out, we can see a larger point of control below us. We're in pretty good shape here to see a continuation higher. Now, is Solana going to break out, emerge, and just go for a run? There's definitely a distinct possibility of that. But for right now, we got to break through that resistance at 225 first to really have any consideration there. So I would say Solana is more likely to break its local high if Bitcoin can continue to stay in the 92 to 93K range. If Bitcoin legs up again and breaks its current all-time high of 93,421, then we'll see Solana probably run towards that no problem. But between now and then, it would make sense for the price to kind of consolidate and hang out here. We may see somewhat of a flag pattern or perhaps just a range. But the likelihood of further upside for Solana is high as long as we stay in this 210 to 212 range or higher. In other words, we want a closure above this level here. I think it's important. Suffice to say, the 15-minute time frame, I like to look at that to identify correlations between coins, and Solana does look like it's really, really ready to break out. So looking really good here, folks. Obviously, be careful in how you trade this coin. I would say a stop loss below 200 would make sense as far as just a general rule of thumb because of that, how strong that support range is for us. But a lot of factors, folks. If Bitcoin just say runs towards, its fair value gap at like 88,200, future reference. In case you're not familiar with this, there is a pretty significant fair value gap at 88.2. Then we could very well see a pullback from Solana. Will it be monumental or strong? Probably not quite as strong as yesterday's pullback, just because we got that strong amount of volume flowing in. A lot of reasons why Solana should break out. Okay, anyways, those are my 2 cents. I hope that made sense. I'll post a playout chart here on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord shortly. Be sure to check out BitUnix, folks. Amazing progressive prize pool of 60K right now. We're soon to unlock that with 80 million more volume. So congrats to anyone who is qualifying for that. Top 20 members all get a pretty sizable chunk. So cool stuff there. Check it out in your own time. CryptoCash.tech is the site if you want to become a better trader as well. Look forward to work with you. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.